Good morning, everybody. Happy holidays from Tam and Janet. I hope you all had a blessed Christmas. And Tam and I are here today to talk about what's coming next.
Yes, we
Hard
are.
to
I'm so
believe.
excited, Janet. I'm excited about January.
I've been tomorrow is the day I do my astrology of 2024. So I've been working on that for weeks, it seems like, right? Interrupted by a new baby coming and holidays and all of that. So I've been, doing this in bits and pieces. And finally, yesterday, I got it all together. And I'm amazed at what 2024 is bringing. And it starts day one with January 1st,
Yep,
which
it's
is just
wonderful.
Sunday,
Yeah,
Monday.
I know. It's. I feel like 2023 has been a kind of like a blur, but nobody will forget 2023. There were so many twists and turns. That number five built into the 20. I know it was a 7 year, but 23 itself is a five energy,
Yes. Yeah.
and the
So you add
twists
that.
and turns that were in 2023, like not no offense, but closing the book on 2023, I don't mind.
I do believe I've already put my 2023 away because
Yeah,
now I'm
I
just
did.
2024. I didn't want
Oh,
to look at 2023 no mo.
I got them both.
Yeah. I don't h I figured because the next time I would use the almanac would be in January. I just put
Yep,
2023's
yep,
away.
here's why you filed it away. It's
I
all good.
filed it away. But we have so much going on that really begins in January, but not necessarily January 1st, at least in my estimation. The whole idea of New Year's resolutions and all
Oh,
of that really doesn't take shape, I don't think, until we get to the January 11th new moon.
mhm,
And there
mhm,
are
mhm.
several reasons for that. So everybody take a breather,
Ooh,
sit back,
let's raise our glasses. You gotta raise your coffee to me.
you get your coffee. I have my gratitude cup this
Cheers.
morning, grateful,
Salud.
boom. Right? Take some time for yourselves these next couple of weeks and really get some clarity about what you want from 2024, what you want in your business, what you want in your family, your finances, your health, and any other area of life that you can think of. But don't feel pressured or pressed
Yep,
to be ready on January 1st to do it because
like,
the energy isn't really with us for it.
that is exactly right. I want to, like, highlight that the, illustration for 20 for January 2024.
Uh
This is
huh.
int We were just talking about, how 2023 was such a roller coaster.
Uh huh.
It's safe for me to expect great experiences this year. What a nice statement. Like, you don't have to be ready to, like, jump in, like you said, January 1st, but it's safe for you to expect great experiences. Like, let's go slow, pressing the gas on this thing. Let's plan it well, right?
I don't know
Concentrate.
that the universe is going to allow the slow press on the gas, but I think the number one thing that all of us need to remember is that we are in the driver's seat. We may not be
Yes.
able to be in control of what's happening in our outer world,
Yeah.
but those things are going to happen irregardless of whether are spending sleepless nights worrying about them,
Yeah.
or we are, constantly in anxiety waiting for the next shoe to drop. Those things are going to happen. The
Right.
only thing we can control is our own responses to everything that is showing up. And that's the amazing aha moment, I think, for us as we go into January. Now, we start the first with Mercury turning direct. Yay!
I know. Oh, you're not joking. Yay.
Yeah. This has
Mercury's
been an interesting Mercury retrograde in term usually it's like my technology. Well, I had a couple of tech hiccups, but it's been all about communication with people,
Yeah.
personal relationships and all of that.
Yeah.
And Mercury turning direct back at 8 Capricorn is really good for me in my personal chart. so,
Yay.
so I'm liking it.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you think about Mercury going direct?
Oh, are you kidding? The Virgo in me is doing a tap dance over here. Yeah, I've I've had a fair few issues with the Mercury retrograde, including this morning with some tech stuff. But yeah, I'm just ready for it, and
Ah,
let's
yes.
let's bring it.
Yeah, let's bring it. So Mercury turns direct at 8 Capricorn. So the Capricorn sector of your chart is ready to explode.
Mm.
So everybody who's out there this morning, and I want to just say good morning to Christine Buckingham and S. Little. I think that's Sharon Little.
Sharon.
J Lo, good morning to you. Debbie Tibbetts Tumiel, good morning. Narges, good morning. And Julie, good morning to you. And it's great to have all of you listeners there. And I know there are people in the background because I can see the number is higher than the people I see here. So good morning to everybody. Yeah, hold on to your hats. I mean, the Capricorn energy is really just now building, and we can see that in the charts that we pull. For example, did I pull? Oh, I didn't pull this morning's, but here is what the new moon will look like.
Oh, oh, there's so much there. Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
I can't get it to come in, but it is Mars, the moon, sun, Pluto, and then the ascendant is also that day with the new moon in Capricorn. So we have what is called a stellium as we move on into the month. So all of that will be building between Monday, the 1st, and the 11th as we move on into January.
Let's do a quick 11th 111, that new moon in Capricorn. I mean, it just says everything, all those initiating one energies in Cap. Holy Moses, I just think it's really brilliant for bringing everything together and mapping out your plan.
Yeah, exactly right, Tam. And this is why I say don't try to force yourself into making resolutions now or to taking action direct, on the first or on the second even, because it's just not there completely.
Right.
And once we get to that new moon, then there's plenty of time to start to enact those things, those
Yes.
goals, those dreams, those ideas out into the world.
Yeah.
But up until that point, and remember, even though Mercury goes direct on the 1st, we're still in the shadow of the Mercury retrograde until
Mhm.
January 20th.
Mhm.
So sit back and enjoy, dream a little dream,
Dream a little.
plan, but just don't expect that you're going to be able to execute everything that you want to do just
Right.
from the 1st.
And I
Just
will
won't
say,
happen.
dream a big dream, Janet. Let's go big this year. Go
Let's
big or go
dream
home.
big. Okay. Go big or go home. This to me, as we look ahead, we have on, so Mercury goes direct in Capricorn. On the 4th, so just a few days later, Mars moves into Capricorn, right? Is that right? You have me question. Yes, Mars
Oh,
moves into Capricorn.
I'm so, yes, yes,
And
yes. Yep.
and Mars does really well in Capricorn.
Yeah, that's a
It's Capricorn to me is very deliberate. It's a Saturn ruled sign and it's goal planning, it's goal setting and actions taken toward goals and things like that. And Mars loves that. The only thing that Mars gets a little frustrated about in Capricorn is the slower pace
the
that
pace.
Saturn will
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
initiate. So
for sure.
yeah, so now we'll have Mercury, then we'll have Mars
Yep.
in the first week of the month in
Mhm.
Capricorn, as well as the Sun. I forgot to say that. The Sun already in Capricorn. So we've got Sun and Mars, which means lots of energy,
Lots of it.
right? Lots of energy. Mercury, lots of possible communicating about business or learning new skills that can apply to your business, that type of thing.
Absolutely.
So the first whole week of January is very lovely in terms of getting ready,
Yeah.
right? Getting ready, getting those
Thing. Let's call
shoes on and
it load. Yeah.
yeah. To me, it's like when I go to take a walk, right? I have to put my warmer clothes on, then I have to put my reflective vests on, then I've got to put my walking shoes on, and then I'm ready to go for the walk, right? And I got to grab my water. Can't go
Yep.
for a walk without the water. So it's like that, right? We're getting all the pieces put together so we could take our walk.
Absolutely. I love
Yeah.
it. We're prepping for the game.
Prepping, that's a good one too. Anything else that first week that you see that you wanna talk about?
No, my next thing is that moon, that big crazy moon that you can cover all of those transits. For me, I go
Yeah,
right into the 11th.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna go backwards in time to the 8th and the 9th, mostly the, 9th. So, and this is from a human design perspective.
Okay.
On the 9th, we have what is called a nodal shift. So when we look
Oh,
at the south and the north nodes in astrology, they're in a sign, not the same degree of the sign, but they're moving through a sign. And in this case, North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra. But in human design, we get to see an extra little facet of what's going on with the energies of those nodes.
Mm,
And the nodes on the ninth will shift into like territory that's very exciting. Let's set it that way first, but
okay.
also can be shocking as the North Node moves into the gate 51. And the gate 51 sits on the heart center or the will center, and it is known as the gate of shock, shock and awe, right? Where
Ooh,
the unexpected happens, where we are shaken to our core sometimes in some ways, not as a way to harm us or hurt us, but to awaken us. So,
mm,
in that shadow of the new moon, we have this very intense change,
mm,
and the south node reminds us at the gate 57, which is sitting on the spleen center, a center about survival and thriving and flourishing. It reminds us that we are intuitive beings. So, that one way to work through those shocks and surprises is through listening to your inner voice, listening to that intuition. Now, that node shift will be with us all the way until May. So I wouldn't expect that that day will hold a huge shock, but I will guarantee that somehow through those next couple of months that there are some things that can really awaken us as a collective, right? As a collective. So
interesting.
remember that the nodes are the north node, the personal and the collective direction that we're
Mhm,
moving in,
yep.
right? What we need more of, while the south node is what we're releasing, or where the gifts are that we hold that we can bring forward to use in a new way. So with those nodes moving into that pair of gates, what we have is likely some very big changes potentially going on in the collective, right? Maybe because we have to in order to thrive or survive, to
Interesting.
be able to move into the future.
So
And
let me ask you a question right
yeah,
there. It's still relative to Aries in North Node and Libra in the South. So can you create an example of this gate in North Node and Aries?
yes, I can. So, North Node in Aries is all about your identity, being true to yourself,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And the gate 51 will awaken you to where you are inauthentic
mm,
or where you have not been true to yourself. And what usually will happen, because, human beings were stubborn creatures, something will happen that crumbles the existing project, foundation, whatever it is, so that you are forced almost to become more authentic or
mm,
to look at things in a new way. So it is one of those gates in human design that we call a red flag because we don't always know how it's going to show up. It's going to be very individualized,
okay.
and like if you're someone who already has the gate 51 defined in the chart, these shocks may not be as strong for you because you're already used to this idea of change and moving with your individuality and transformation towards those things. But for those people who do not have the gate 51, it's going to be suddenly this wake up call or an aha moment. It can be that as well. The epiphany, the revelation.
Mm,
So it could be very positive, but I think human beings, we don't like it when we're pushed off of our comfort zones. And
sure.
this is one that will really push us off our comfort zone for the first, 3 or 4 months of the year.
It sounds very like Uranus. It's very, revelatory and sudden and kind of shocking. And I
Yeah.
also am thinking of like the Tower card inside of tarot, the tarot deck.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
how I think of it. I don't know.
Yeah, because like the 51 is, we can always look to the 51 in a chart when somebody, let's say, comes up with a cancer diagnosis. And now suddenly their whole life has to change to go more
Oh,
toward healing. And
sure.
then in retrospect, they go, that was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
right? Because it changed my life. It changed my idea of what joy is and or whatever they're saying about it.
Oh, I
And
love
that's the awakening kind of thing that we get with the gate 51.
it.
It moves us to be more embodied spirits
Mm,
because that's the gate on the other side, right?
okay.
Is the gate of spirit. So wherever you're out of alignment with that, shock will happen to move you more toward that spiritual self, that divine entity that you are.
Perfect, because that's kind of in the cards anyway for the year with Saturn and Pisces, right?
Absolutely.
And
But
Neptune
I
and Pisces. I mean,
Yeah, the thing about it though is that people react as opposed to respond
oh, I know.
sometimes to these shocks. And of course that means in the collective we're likely, especially with the force of Pluto this month moving
Yeah.
into Aquarius again, we're likely to see the rubber band effect of some of the nastiness that's been going on in the world. We're already seeing it, right? People already, just to go with the Israel Palestinian issue going on, we're already seeing that. At first everybody was behind Israel, and there was like, oh yeah, you got to get these people out of there. But now we're seeing the effects of what's going on with the people and how they're suffering, and now the tide is turning. That's what I call this rubber band effect. It starts out one way, but then the shock and the horror set in and we go a different direction. So be ready because I don't know how that's going to look in the wider world.
Right.
I have, ideas, but they're just ideas.
That's
Be
right.
ready. That's
Right.
the whole idea. Be ready.
Everything,
Be ready for
everything is
anything.
possible.
Anything is possible. So there's that node shift, and that same day, the sun is in a trine to Uranus,
Mm.
and
Oh,
Mars is in a sextile to Saturn. So those coupled together are
right.
very powerful transits that are
Yes.
happening. And I think they're of an empowering nature. I don't see them as, terrible, terrible. The trine with Uranus just means that maybe some of the things that we're awakening to set the tone for a kinder, gentler, more compassionate, empathic, or empathetic world.
Mm,
I like that.
I like
That's
that too.
I choose to think of them that way. I'll be Pollyanna today.
It does sound like those days, 8th and ninth, do I mean, with the sun being present, and it's more likely we will recognize something on or around those days, don't you think, with the
I
sun
think
so
so.
present? Yeah, I think so too. Let's flag those days, everyone.
8th and 9th. In my calendar, it doesn't show them in a green or in a red. So
Really?
the calendar, well, of course, the calendar doesn't take into effect human design.
Right.
But I would say that 9 has the potential for being a green day.
Mhm.
But all of that caveat dependent on how you as an individual greet this energy of change,
Exactly.
of what's happening around you. So, and the moon that day is shifting from Sagittarius to
Yep.
Capricorn.
Corn. Yep.
So, we the shifting and the morphing of the sands of time. What can we say?
Wow.
And then the new moon
And then
on Thursday the 11th. It is a new moon in Capricorn. It's a
yep.
late Capricorn moon this time because last year the Capricorn moon was much earlier. So here we get to really be in that energy of Capricorn, the
Mm,
planning, the goal setting, the ambition, the drive, the setting up of a foundation. It's a beautiful new moon, albeit energetic,
mm.
high energy.
I am with you. I'm gonna listen because this is a loaded uh event. So I'm gonna listen. We really simplify things in the energy almanac. So I'm gonna listen to all the stuff you're gonna say, and I'm gonna add it to my notes on my page 35 of my almanac.
Good idea. Page 35. So the first thing that I noticed is that the sun and moon together in their conjunction is also close to conjunction with Pluto at
Mhm.
the 29th. The new moon is occurring at 20 degrees 44 minutes
Mm,
of Capricorn, and Pluto is sitting at 29:41 of Capricorn. Now, normally I would go with about a 5 or a 6 degree orb, but it's Pluto. So
right.
we can take a 15-degree orb with
Or
Pluto and still call it a conjunction. So that already sets the tone that this new moon has a very transformational impact. And that transformational impact is likely structured in very Aquarian facing ways. It's
Mhm.
Capricorn still,
Yep.
but we're looking at what happens the very next week is Pluto moving into Aquarius
Aquarius.
and conjuncting the sun exactly on that day.
Mm,
So we have this very, interesting time in that new moon to really take up the best of the past
yes. Oh, I love that.
and to move it forward with us into the future while relinquishing the baggage that we don't need any longer, that doesn't fit any longer, right? There's so much I could say about this that impacts the
Ooh,
politics of the time, the religions, the struggles that we're all facing. Because here's our open invitation from the cosmos to build upon what's been good
right.
and what's been stable and what we can count on while letting go of everything else and not being afraid to go into the future.
I always feel that's what Pluto is here for. Out with the bad so that we can build what's good. And I always
Yeah.
do this with Pluto. It's like I'm wiping stuff out and now I'm growing something.
And
um, I
and
really,
astronomers tried to demote him. I mean, really, come
oh,
on.
come on, that little powerhouse, Tasmanian devil is what I call him, you know?
Yes, but he does it in a way like Uranus is more that Tasmanian devil that you don't expect what, he might do. But from the aspect of the Tasmanian devil being on a course, right? And chewing up the ground as it were while he's on his way to it,
Right.
that is very Plutoan,
Yeah.
right? So it's a more insistent, but maybe a slower process of change and transformation. But when you have that happening at a new moon, it's
Oosh,
an open invite to just, okay, let's be done with all of that and move forward. But
yeah.
don't forget to bring with you all of the things that really made a difference in your life or that make sense in the context of a new future.
Mm,
Now, in likewise manner, we have a trine from the new moon to Uranus.
mhm.
And a trine is an aspect that just implies sort of an ease and grace and flow in the energies between the two. The new moon is in Capricorn, that's an earth sign, and Uranus is in Taurus, also an earth sign. So they have common ground to work with here. And Taurus is a building sign. Capricorn is also a building sign, but in a different way. Capricorn builds the bones
Yep.
of the plan, let's say,
Foundation.
or the blueprints, right?
Yep.
And Taurus puts it into concrete form.
Mhm.
So it is kind of a positive thing, I think, to look at in January that if we wait until that new moon to really start to institute things in our own personal lives, that we have this full authority coming from the universe behind us in this aspect to help us. Now, there's a little tension, let's call it, or stress, because the new moon is also in an almost exact square
Mhm.
to the nodal axis. So
Mhm.
when I say that, I mean the south node
Yep.
is at 20 degrees 13 minutes of Libra, the north node at 2013 of Aries, while Capricorn squares both of those signs, and the sun and moon are at 20 degrees 44
Ooh,
minutes.
I'm
So it is
very
almost
curious to hear about this, Janet. Tell me about this and what this means.
well, if you think of the nodal axis in this case as our destiny, like where are
Okay.
we going collectively, but also individually, right? The
Sure.
new moon brings this to us as individuals. Then what it shows us is the difficulties that we might have in releasing the past and moving
Oh,
on into the future. Like we're holding on. Like you can see it just I don't like to go too much into politics, but you just watch the teeth and nails holding on to
yeah.
the old
Yep.
and it's like they're on the last claw
Yeah.
holding on because in this case you can't hold on any longer. That's why I say it's going to be this is a year, it's pivotal in that we have to decide what we take with us and what we leave behind.
Sure. Yep.
And those nodes squaring say, okay, what work are you going to do about it?
Mhm.
Are you gonna just stay the same? Because the universe isn't going to allow you to be the same,
Mm, mm.
but you can go kicking and screaming, or you can go with ease and grace, right? So there you
I'll
have that.
pick B, ease and grace.
I'm ease and
Um,
grace all the way, but, as soon as I say that, then something's gonna pop up in my own personal life that's like, "Ugh, I don't
yeah,
wanna let go." Right?
well,
So that's kind of the issue in a square. There's this tension that we're feeling, this, like, roiling energy that's saying, "Okay, I gotta move in a new direction," but I'm a little fearful, right? Uranus, even though he's revolutionary and he's a part of this new moon, he's in Taurus, a sign that likes its comfort zone.
right. Slow to
So
change.
we're gonna have to put some consciousness to it, Tam.
Mm. Well, we always should, and applied knowledge is power. And for those of us who are, I'm looking at the comments now, reading and watching, we are the aware ones. So let's let our consciousness rule. Um,
What we do.
respond, respond, not react. Our famous line, right?
Yep, yep,
That's what
yep,
astrology is for, I
yep,
think.
absolutely. Now, if the, sun and moon are squaring the nodes, they are also squaring Chiron. Be
Mm,
a little Chiron is lagging a little behind the nodes or, ahead of the nodes because the nodes back in,
mhm,
but, that is activated as well, and Chiron holds the wound of identity here because
right.
he's in Aries.
Yep.
So, who am I is a big question.
Oh
Like,
boy.
who am I? Where am I going? What am I here for? What is the purpose of all of this angst? What is the purpose of all this anger and upset? And what's the purpose of life in general? I mean, I asked myself that just over the Christmas holidays. What is all of this? And, you know, those are questions that need to be answered, but they have to be there's no one pat answer.
Right. It's
It's
going to be different for everyone, for
It's
sure.
gonna be different for everyone, and everyone will be feeling that sort of chironic wounding around their identity,
Mm,
whether that's because of the way they were raised as children, taught to believe certain things and that they could only achieve certain things, or whatever it is, right? That we're dealing with that and its impact in our identity. Like, can we be more than we believed we could be? Big question. Not answered probably this year, but certainly something that we can take up as a call to meditate on or contemplate as we move into, the future. And then a sextile to Neptune from the new moon makes it all a little bit more blurry, but also more spiritually inclined. Like maybe we'll just feel like, you know what? Give it to God. Give it
mm.
over. Right. I can't make head nor tail sense of all of this. So
The answer is love. you know?
right, 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 right. Love, Love, right? And isn't love, oh, I can't remember what it turns out to be in a numerological sense, but um, isn't
Oh,
the year we're going into a universal year 6?
yes.
And
And that's 6 is the number of love and also the number of Venus. Yes.
yeah, so it's a great year for us to take up the cause of balance and harmony and peace.
That's
And
24, by the way. Year is an 8 year with a 6 sub story. 6 is the
ah,
sub
I
story.
knew 6 entered into it somewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. It's just gonna be interesting to see how all of this plays out.
Yeah.
But everybody should understand that at the new moon, there is a lot of Capricorn energy, which suggests you've got to really take a look at what it is you can leave behind and what it is that you truly, authentically want to take forward with you.
Mhm.
And then expect that there's going to be some madness going on around us,
Yeah.
changes and court proceedings, and blah, it's all out there.
Oh,
But
yeah. I
the
didn't
new
even
moon,
thought about that, right? Like, collectively, you're right. The whole legal schmiegel, all of that could definitely play out around
yep.
this time frame.
Yep, the political, the south node being in Libra, a sign of politics
Politics
and
and
diplomacy and
yeah,
tact and all of the things that we think of as how we get along in the world.
good point.
So yeah, that's
Oh,
impactful too, but note it's the south node,
yes,
which means that we probably have to r take a new look at what we're doing out there in the
exactly.
world, right?
I
I've
will
long said of that we
say
have to do that.
really quickly, I want to say, again, I'm always about simplifying information. I
Mhm.
I refer to the nodes as instruction books. Um, your
Hmm.
your north node is your instruction book for tools you can use to move yourself forward. The instruction book for the past is in the south node. These are information you can leave behind and work with. So tool tools, really, they're tools
Yeah.
for us. Is how I look at them. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. That's exactly right, Tam. They're tools, they're gifts, they're talents,
Yeah.
they're the thing experiences. It's the Akashic records, if you will, of
Yes.
your astrology because it's holding on to every experience, every tale that's been told.
I love that
And
language. That's true. The Akashic records of your personal natal chart or the collective chart. That's
yeah,
brilliantly said. Yep.
yeah. And it's up to us then how we take that wisdom that's contained there and use it into the benefit of the North Node, which in this case is Aries. How do we establish a new identity nationally, globally, individually? How do we establish that?
Yeah.
And it's coming with a wound because, sometimes we just don't want to give up who we think we are.
Right.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
That will be fun.
A very, very powerful. It's notice on your calendars, it's in green, right? If you guys have gotten your calendars from me, it's in green. So that means it's a good day.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's personally for me or if that's all in general because I've set this one for my personal days. Um, but I would look at it as it's positive. And
Okay.
that's followed on the 12th. So we're in the new moon window still with Mars coming into a trine with Jupiter. Like that is a beautiful
Yes.
affirmation of what can happen when you remain optimistic,
Right.
when you hold a bright vision of the future,
Mhm.
and when you take steps, action toward establishing the new.
Right. And would you also agree that with Jupiter being in Taurus, this could be relative to something about resources and or self-worth?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we might even find that we hear some positive economic news, like maybe the
Yes.
economy is moving ahead faster. I have already heard that a couple of different times. I noticed that my crypto holdings have like doubled
Yeah.
in the last couple of months. Like I was so depressed because I was losing, money, and now it's all back. I'm like, woohoo! So things are looking brighter in terms of the market capacities and things like
Yes.
that. But have we learned the lessons that Pluto taught us way
Right.
back in 2008 when the
Right.
whole thing went to hell in a handbasket,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That'll be a question for us in the
Oh boy.
future.
I hope
Yeah.
everybody's as excited as I am about Jupiter finally stationing direct. Jeez Louise, this later this week.
Yes, later this week. In fact, oh, I don't even have that on here. Jupiter stations direct
December,
must be the 30th. I think it's
I
the
think so. I
30th.
think that's correct. Yep.
Yeah. So
Saturday.
Friday,
Oh,
Friday or Saturday, whatever day that is.
we're talking about January. What are we doing here?
Yeah, that's right. We're talking about this. And then Mercury on the 13th moves into Capricorn. If we don't already have enough Capricorn energy, you get some more.
Let's sprinkle a little more on there. And
Yeah,
so now we can really get serious about analyzing the plans and what we're going to do. And
yeah,
whoosh, I have so much
absolutely.
Capricorn energy. I love it.
And it's a time to communicate with clarity,
Yep.
with authority,
Yep.
and practicality,
Right.
right? You can't just have these pie in the sky dream kinds of things. They're nice,
Oh,
but how are you going to make it happen? What are you going to do?
I,
Right? So
I
focusing.
a dream without a plan is just a wish. Capricorn energy is perfect to take that dream and really ground it in and put your plan in action. And hello, if you need help with that, that's what I do. I am a
Yay.
strategic and spiritual business coach. Reach out. Let's talk. I have open office hours this year. My new business model is open office hours. So reach out to
Oh,
me. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Good one. And people can reach out to you at
Tam at choosebigchange.com. And if Sharon Little is in there, type it in the, or, oh, Janet's
I'm
going
doing
to.
it right now. Big
Awesome.
change. Wait, Tam at bigchange.com.
Choosebigchange.com. Yeah.
Oh, shit. I mean, shoot. And at
Oh, nuts.
choosebigchange.com.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
there we go. And now I will actually put that up on the screen. Uh,
Loves a good work session. I the whole planning and getting
there
your
you go.
business out to the world, I love it.
There you go. So, that's interesting because, some people may need help with this. The
Yeah,
air signs, right?
yeah,
Air
that's
signs
true.
might need help getting practical, getting down to earth, right?
Planning is
Um,
my jam.
yeah, and, Mercury going into Capricorn, if it's not already apparent by all the other, planets in Capricorn, is a time to find ourselves getting more organized,
Yes.
more disciplined,
Mhm.
and more efficient in what
Yes.
we're saying, in what we're doing, in how we're doing what we're doing. Um, I think it's an invitation to be more patient and
Mhm.
more perseverant and understanding that manifestation on this planet takes a little more time than I want it now.
Yes.
So it'll be a really good help for us to achieve our dreams or our objectives. But we also have to not forget to connect with our intuition during this time, right? There's more than just the what we do. It's about also who we be. Like,
I actually would add that I feel like that's like an underlying flavor of the whole year. Like if I am telling everybody, like, let's use the information from 2023, which is the answers come from within. That seven energy of 2023 was about going in for answers, and silence is good for us. And that to me, a lot of that is the Saturn and Pisces energy. And we have that to work with all year. Like start in January. Does this feel in alignment? And
absolutely.
and allow these answers to come in. Um,
And there is no one pat answer either.
yeah,
And
right.
I mean, what is good for you and how you work is not how I'm going to work
Right.
in my best way. So everybody has to find that path forward for themselves and be authentic in it. I mean, the energy of Capricorn when it's working in its highest and best is about almost ruthless authenticity,
Yeah.
right?
Integrity and authenticity. Yeah.
Integrity, you've got it, right? So there's all that.
Love it.
What's your next day?
Holy cow, I'm just checking the time to make sure we make it through the month this year, this time.
Ah, we
Hold on.
will.
My next one is the 19th, Mercury in Capricorn, trine Jupiter in Taurus. Do you have
Oh,
that on
yeah.
the 19th?
I have that on the 19th as well as Venus squaring Neptune that day.
Yes. And that was another one that I have too. Yep.
It seems like a Neptune sort of week because that
Yeah.
week on the 15th, we start with the sun in a sextile to Neptune,
Okay.
and then we go into Mercury in a sextile to Saturn, and then we go into, the Venus squaring Neptune.
So it
All of
sounds like
these,
an emotional kind of.
it does. It seems like that, emotions may be triggered
Okay.
from, changes that are being made in your life. I wanna also say that there's something in all of our psyches at this point, and for a lot of us, it may be there and we're aware of it. For a lot of us, it may be there, but we're not aware of it yet, and that is of this very powerful transition that we're going through, in beginning actually in January, that will impact us now and into,
uh
I don't know, the next 20
2040
years?
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
2040,
20 years?
2044 or something. Yeah.
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 And, I think sometimes we feel the weight of it, but we don't quite know what it
What
is.
is that? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what is that I'm
Oh,
feeling? And I think that
yes.
starts to crystallize for each of us in these moments before the 20th, which is a big day in the month. Um kind of remind us about our internal landscape and being intuitive and living life from the spiritual point of view as much as possible. But simultaneously remembering that you're on a physical planet and you have to take physical steps to do anything,
Right.
right? So it's a sort of, I don't know, it's a kind of a beautiful week,
Yeah.
but underneath it, we just feel this weight, this magnitude of something that has yet been identified.
Mm.
And that is a part of the 2024 as we go in is the magnitude of those changes. What is it bringing to us? Because, we're not necessarily creatures of change, even though change is the name of the game. And we might really feel like something's up
Mhm.
because it is.
Because it is, for sure.
Because it is.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then on the 20th, oh my gosh. So that day, if it wasn't enough that Pluto's moving into Aquarius at 0 degrees,
0
right? 0
degrees,
degrees is an anaretic degree or a critical degree,
right?
and it is a degree of possibility. It is a
Yay!
degree of new beginnings. It is a degree of God, I'm gonna say this, but I'm not quite sure this works out exactly, but it's like a tabula rasa,
A
a
what?
blank slate, the
Oh,
tabula rasa. Have you ever
oh,
heard that term?
no, I never had heard that. Okay. Tabula rasa.
Tabula rasa, a blank slate that nothing has yet been written upon. A newborn, tabula rasa, right? The earth has not quite written um, a screenplay yet on that infant. Tabula rasa in this respect means that we have not only Pluto moving into Aquarius. Now, this is the second time, so it's not like this is the first time,
Right.
but on that day, the sun also conjuncts Pluto at
Yes.
0 degrees of Aquarius.
That's what I wrote. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's stacked, right? There's this stacking
Yeah.
going on, as we pick up that day's energy. I starred this day because I think even more so than the new moon, it tells the tale. So everybody should circle January 20th or so on their calendars,
Mm,
because something likely in the world will rear its head that gives us an idea of what the magnitude is of the changes that are going to be taking place.
mm,
That 0 degrees is that powerful.
mm, mm,
And
mm.
I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be some beautiful expression of something in the world. It could be the exact opposite that shows us this glaring disparity, let's say, between those who have and those who have not. The glaring disparity between the war-torn world and the world that's at peace, sort of, right? So lots of things that can be going on the 20th, but just note them. Note how you're feeling about it,
Mm.
right? What's going on in your own personal life that day.
Good one for
This
the journal.
this whole year, Tam, is a
I know.
journaling year.
I agree with you. I know.
It's a journaling year because in some very key ways, we're also wearing something down.
Mm. Oh,
We're coming because in 2025, which we've not yet written the almanac for 2025, but in 2025, Uranus changes signs. We have Neptune changing signs. And when outer planets that take that long time to transit through something change signs, there's usually some big thing that
it's a year
happens.
of completion. I 2025, it's a year of completion. Yeah, it's the end of a journey of
The end of
sorts.
a
Not that
journey
there's
and
more
the
journey to take, but yeah.
right, 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 and so we're getting sort of a teaser maybe,
Mm,
on January 20th about what more is possible. Now, here's what I wrote about it.
okay.
Um, I
The long pause. Uh-oh.
a pregnant pause.
Right.
Um, it is such a powerful astrological degree, 0 Aquarius is, and it signifies that transformation of the self and the collective. And that transformation is often very future oriented in Aquarian energy. It's the future, it's time, but as we look ahead, where in Capricorn, it was time as we look behind us.
Right.
And Aquarius also represents the humanitarian, the innovative, the rebellious, right?
Right.
So there's some
Freedom.
very key freedom,
Yeah.
some key energies that are in there, but it can also represent resistance to change, the
Oh,
fear of change,
okay.
power struggles in the dynamic. One side saying, yes, we're all for freedom and change, but yet the evidence suggests that everything you do takes away freedom.
Yeah.
And another side being that way, but in a different way. I mean, ugh, it's like we are in this very weird thing. So I'm guessing that the key for all of us is to embrace the new while letting go of the old and the outdated,
Mm,
and this aspect to me also represents a global shift in consciousness,
yes. Love
right?
that. Amen.
Yes. So there may be breakthroughs, there may be breakdowns,
Right.
especially in things like technology and science and religion and social movements and politics, because Aquarius rules kind of those things, right? That's that
Mhm.
Aquarian area. And we just have to be aware that we'll need courage to go forward here. But
And
what I Googled, and this is so funny because I just went, you know what? I'm just going to Google this and see what I get. What might a global shift in consciousness look like in 2024?
you Googled that?
I Googled that because I'm like, I don't know what it's going to look like. So I Googled it to see what Google would say. And a global shift in consciousness is a term that refers to a collective awakening of humanity to a higher level of awareness, compassion, and wisdom. And
Mm,
it's a phenomenon that many people believe is happening or will happen in the near future as a result of various factors such as environmental crises, social movements, spiritual practices, technological innovations, etc. And here are some of the signs. These are not my own ideas. These came from Google. But I liked them enough to bring them up this morning as the energy of what's possible here. One, a greater sense of interconnectedness and empathy among people of different cultures, religions, and backgrounds, leading to more cooperation and harmony in solving global challenges. Let's hear it for that. Sign me up. Check. A deeper appreciation and respect for nature and all living beings, resulting in more sustainable and ethical choices and actions.
take that too. Thank you.
Check.
Yep.
Sign me up. A higher level of creativity and innovation as people tap into their potential and express their unique gifts and talents. Check.
Love it. Yes.
That's what we've been saying all morning, right?
Right. Right.
A more holistic and integrative approach to health and well being, incorporating physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects.
Woo.
Another check. And a more authentic and meaningful way of living aligned with one's true purpose and values.
Janet, can I make a special request?
Yeah,
Would
check.
you would you copy and paste that into a post?
Yeah, okay, I can do
Like,
that.
into a either here in the chat or in a Facebook post? Like, that's beautiful.
Isn't that? And that was from Google, right? We all think AI is so bad, but look,
Look at that. I'll take it. Amen.
yeah, I'll take that. Now, it doesn't say anything about how we get to those points, right? In between that vision is probably a lot of choices and a lot of things that we have to get through. But I love that idea of this global shift
Oh,
and it being one of our own making because we are that powerful as individuals.
I agree with you. I'm reminded of a coaching question that is can be powerful for people. Um, it's going to sound like a statement. Everywhere I'm afraid of the chaos of becoming changed, I now destroy and uncreate that. Everywhere I'm afraid, you uncreate the fear of becoming the chaos of being changed. It is chaotic to go through watching our world as we currently know it unfold and break down. But it's the only way through to the other side to what's going to be amazing and great and everything that you just listed. Thank you, Google.
Right? I mean, I was like, wow, Google has moved up in the spirituality realm. It might have been Bing. I don't remember. I use Google usually, so it's probably Google. But anyway, so that's the power of January 20th, right? In the greater concept of time, that day begins something, right? And to be watchful of what you're feeling that day, what's going on around you that day, what's going on in the bigger, wider world that day, as signposts of what more is possible as the rest of the year, but also the rest of the 2020s unfolds,
I have a quick
right?
question. Is this impactful for those who have a January 20 birthday? Is it any different for them? My daughter has a January 20th birthday, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that means for her.
Oh, well, it's huge, right? Because her whole year is infused with that energy. And how old is she?
Oh my God. I think
You
she's
don't
gonna
know.
no, oh no, she'll be 34 this year.
Okay.
She's going into a 7 year. Yeah.
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 So, this is for her. kind of a theme that will recur throughout the year, right? That it's not just one and done.
Yeah.
Like, but it's also characteristic of someone who likely has a part or a role to play in the future of this world, like
I
we all do. So I don't mean to say that your daughter's special because her birthday's that day, blah, blah, blah.
She's special. What are you talking about?
She is special, but so is everybody.
All right. Thank
Um,
you. I got
but
what
it
I
does
need.
impact her.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And anyway, so I mean, like everything after that in this month, it just feels sort of like in support of that particular change that's happening on the 20th.
Yeah.
Venus does move into Capricorn that next week, so she joins the party. But also we lost the sun in Aquarius. It moved into Aquarius out of Capricorn. So, we're losing the planets in Capricorn, but there's still a lot of focus there in that sign.
Yep.
And then we have the full moon on the 25th in Leo. What
Right.
did you think about that?
What do I think about that? Well, again, we keep our moons simple. I mean, I look at it as a super creative moon, and maybe a little frisky too. Leo highlights romance. I'm looking at it as creative expression and an opportunity to find out what might be in your way of you fully expressing yourself in those ways.
I'm going to show you a picture here that I'm highlighting at the moment. So if you see me drawing,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
I'm
doing.
always trying. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
because you're an artist. Hello.
I mean, I'm always writing as you're speaking, is what I should have said. Yeah, like it's a light energy and a light moon. There you go. Oh yeah. Oh
I'm
my
gonna
God,
I'm
they're
gonna
all on the. It's very social, isn't it?
yeah. Uh
Holy, wow!
yeah. So what I did was I looked at it almost looks like an umbrella.
It
Um,
does.
it's the moon that's holding this down here. This point is the
Yep.
moon.
Yep.
Oops, the moon in the full moon is actually holding the weight of or the balance point for all of the planets that are above that horizon. And that means that there's a lot of power in that Leo moon. And a
Yep.
Leo moon is about the individual, right? Your
Yep.
individual self creativity,
Look at
individual
me.
expression.
Yep.
Look at me,
Yep.
right?
All
See
eyes on
me.
me.
This is what I do.
Yep.
So it's beautiful, I think, as a full moon, as full moons go. We still see the sun in a very tight conjunction to Aquarius that day.
Mhm.
Or I mean, to Aquarius, to Pluto in Aquarius that day, within 5 degrees of it. So, yeah, very much activated. Um, the sun and Saturn are both at 5 degrees that day. So that is of the next sign over. So the sun is in Aquarius, Saturn in Pisces, and that makes it a semi-sextile, which means that there's some level of cooperation, of kind of collaboration in order to get things off the ground that we might need to enact. All of us, not just if you're an Aquarian. So that's a part of that full moon. And then Jupiter is also a part of that full moon, but squaring the sun in that case and also squaring the moon.
Mhm.
So we have to watch out for going too far too fast.
Right. Right.
We have to watch out for committing more than we can physically do or mentally do, right? We can't
Or commit.
overcommit. So that will be something that we also want to be aware of during that period of time. And nothing else really jumped out at me around the full moon except the weight of those planets in the social sphere of the chart being held by the moon in the more individual part of the chart. So, meaning it really depends on what you do, how you express yourself, and you've got to be in the heart over this.
Yes, right. The Leo in the heart.
Leo
Absolutely.
in the heart, being in the heart.
Yep.
We could also look at the black moon. Lilith is also holding some space there. She's in Virgo.
Oh,
So we're also having to purify ourselves,
mm,
meaning not purify like in a religious sense, but, you know, letting go of those things that are toxic to us, emotions,
release the
relationships.
baggage, basically.
Yeah, all that baggage, get
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
right? So that we can be the purest expression of ourselves as we go on through the month. So the day after the full moon, Uranus goes direct.
Yay.
Yay, right? Now the contrarian nature turns more to the, revolutionary. I don't know if that's good or not. It's
Well,
good. But in human design, Saturn, interestingly, changes gates that same day. Now
okay.
he's been sitting at the gate of abundance. So I think that setting has been, very important in the whole economic outlook changing and being, looking more optimistic a little bit, like some of the things, the actions that people have taken in the government or in the economy sector are actually starting to bear out some
Mhm.
fruit, like in a good way. But now Saturn's going to move into the gate of peace.
Mm,
The
right.
gate 37 is on the emotional center. Also, the 55 was on the emotional center. So, Saturn is spending a great deal of time in that emotional sector of our charts or of our human design, the emotional center, which means that we have to create and build an emotional connection to peace and harmony
Mm,
through interconnectedness
mhm.
through our families. And I don't mean the blood family necessarily, because there's all kinds of representations of family, right? Your
Yep.
work family, your
Yep.
hobby family, your social media family, your real family. I mean, all kinds of things. But creating peace will be the big keynote of Saturn now for the next several months after that.
Love that.
Yeah, I found that to be very hopeful.
Yes.
But anytime a planet like Saturn moves into a new gate or a new sign even, what we often see first is all of that it is not in resonance to that energy.
Mm,
So in this case, we're seeing all that is not peace
mm,
first,
yep.
and then choosing peace and
Well,
harmony.
I'm thinking about earlier in the month, there is some revelatory information coming, and then like we have to sort of assimilate it. And then Saturn goes into this gate where like we're working at peace. I think it's perfect. So, really, as January winds down, we have this new, I don't know, flavor as we head into February where we can work on
Yeah,
practicing peace, right? Or at Saturn and
practicing
Pisces
peace.
would say being serious and disciplined about our spirituality, which I mean, to me, peacefulness is a flavor of spirituality,
Yeah, and it
nuance,
comes from within.
right? And
It's
it comes from within. Yes.
yeah, and when you're peaceful within you, when you've created peace within you, then it moves to be a shining example of
Right.
that in the outer world. And then other people pick that up, and then other people pick that up.
Exactly.
So, anyway, let peace be. There's a song. I mean, I grew up a Lutheran, so I had all kinds of, religious music, but there was a song called Let Peace Begin with Me.
Oh yeah, well, I had that
Or-
song too. I was raised
Yeah.
Catholic, but that's a song. That's a
Yeah.
good
We sang it all the time. And
Let
I just
there
felt
be peace on earth. Let it begin with me. Right? Is that the
right.
one?
That's the one.
All right.
And it's the truth of the time that Saturn will be bringing us, right? And Saturn in Pisces has been teaching all of us about bringing down the walls. And
Yes.
the biggest wall is fear,
Yeah.
right? The fear of other,
You
right?
have a question on the chat, and I want, while you're reading that question, real quickly, for those of you who don't have your new energy almanac yet, Janet has a link to get you an energy almanac. We have all new resources this year, which I think are really fun. And I just want to take 10 seconds to tell you about, we have numerology, aromatherapy, and gemstones combined this year. For January, we're doing moonstone, which I happen to be wearing today, as
I'm
well
wearing all
as
kinds of stones in a moon.
yeah, aren't we both? Sage and cypress, and tarot cards, rituals, which are really well written, beautiful. A ritual a month, a self care article, a financial article, and I'm not going to lie, my very favorite articles are the laughter articles. How to add levity to the year. One article a month about laughter.
Where's that? Oh, I see it at the bottom of page 39.
Bottom of page 39. So I just wanted you to know, like, it's so much fun this year. You have so many different options for resources.
That's all.
And
I didn't even notice that, Tam.
yeah. And JLo's asking about how Saturn will impact those with other planets in that same gate.
Well, yeah, I'm in that same boat with you, Lo, because I also have planets at the gate 37. So it means that that energy is ramped up for you in some way. So you'd have to go to what other planets are sitting there and understand what would the impact, let's say, of a Mercury be on the gate of peace. Well, that would suggest that maybe you would have to work on your communication in that particular arena. Am I communicating with peace, or am I communicating with
Oh,
anger or words that are loaded? Let's say. So that would be, say, a Mercury that might also be there. Venus there might also be offering up possibilities for creating peace in your personal relationships, but
mm,
you're layering planets there, so it does bring it more into focus.
mm.
And that energy ultimately is about creating community. Big theme as we finish up another 400-year cycle that's been going on with human design. What is the community that you're a part of, and how to have you found your peeps, right?
I'm relating that to like Age of Aquarius because I feel like
Mm,
that's part of Age of Aquarius. Community is immunity, is what I keep
yeah,
saying. Yeah.
yeah. So I hope, does that answer your question, Lo? Just, say yes or no. So look at the planet that is also sitting there with Saturn, and if you can understand how that planet is playing out in your birth chart, apply peace to it,
Wow.
and then you'll have your solution. Yeah.
Wow.
She says she has Black Moon Lilith there. I
Oh,
know it will take me on a trip now. The Black Moon Lilith exposes us to our personal shadow selves.
hi, Tina. Tina's just saying good morning. We're winding
Good
down.
morning,
So
Tina.
sorry.
But it's recorded. That's the
No,
blessing,
yeah, go
right?
back and watch.
Um, yeah. So, Tam, all in all, I think that January is a very important. I mean, it's always, oh, I love that. Do less and like it. Um,
This is my mantra for the year.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Everybody should make their own poster of what do they want in 2024. Something simple, something with words, something colorful or not. Put something in front of you to remind you of what you want in the year ahead.
Yeah, I already had my word for this year, back in December, October, and that was completion. And I felt like this is a great opportunity for us to bring completion to certain things in our lives. And I have a lot of things that I looked back at that I wanted to bring to completion. So projects mostly, like things I
Nice.
want to end.
Yeah.
So everybody find their word. I love that. Not everybody can be as
You don't have to be an
artist.
artist. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to be as creative as I am, but anything that's a visual reminder for who you
Yep.
want to be, how you want to show up, what you want to feel in the year ahead. That just happens to be the way I do it. That's all.
I think it's beautiful. That's wonderful. Well, that brings us to a close for the month of January, a look ahead. I do not have, yes, I do. What would
Oh,
be February's dates? Nope, this is not a calendar like that. Um,
here, let's see. Let's meet again
let's meet again.
on uh is it going to be the 24th or is it going to be February? Oh boy, or it would be hmm,
The last Wednesday of the month or the first Wednesday?
yeah.
Where do we begin February?
It's February 7th is the first Wednesday. So that
The
doesn't
week
work. So it's gonna be the 24th.
24th of
Yeah,
January?
that's what am I feel like I'm missing a week. What's going on here?
It would be the 31st.
Why don't my calendar doesn't show that day. That's very weird.
Wow, weird. Yeah, the 31st is on a Wednesday. I had the calendar sitting
Oh,
right.
there it is. I got it. Okay.
Yes. So Tam and
Wow.
sorry for that, little hiccup burp there. We will be together on the 31st to talk
Yes.
about February, and
I promise I'll
February
be
is
there.
going to
I
be
found it on
interesting.
my calendar.
Yay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tam, it's been a pleasure all year long to be with you, and I look forward to 2024. We can experience this new collective energy together.
Mm,
Take care, everybody. Happy New Year. We'll
happy
see
New
you
Year.
later in January. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.